The episode opens with establishing shots of Washington, D.C. as a court case unfolds, with Heather Dunbar arguing for civilian protection even when taking down terrorists. Back in court, Dunbar continues to argue for constitutional checks and balances, defending the presidency while acknowledging the need for oversight regarding the airstrike that killed Mr. Mahmoud's family. Meanwhile, at Arlington National Cemetery, President Underwood attends a military funeral. Underwood, walking with Dunbar and Leanne Harvey at Arlington National Cemetery, discusses campaign financing and expresses his intention to undermine Dunbar if she proves unbeatable. Later, at the United Nations Security Council in New York City, Claire Underwood advocates for a resolution on the Middle East, but Russia vetoes it. Undeterred, Claire plans to circumvent the Security Council, confirming that Israel supports her alternate plan. While Claire deals with international politics and Russian diplomats in New York City, Claire plans to circumvent the Security Council, confirming that Israel supports her alternate plan. Frank Underwood meets with Heather Dunbar at the White House and offers her a Supreme Court vacancy, implying that the current judge, Jacobs, is mentally unfit and should be replaced. Finally, an FBI agent's attempt to access information about Lisa is blocked. President Underwood meets with Mahmoud, who is in a wheelchair, to address the U.S. airstrikes. But Mahmoud accuses the U.S. of lying about civilian deaths. Mahmoud experiences a phantom pain attack and admits his vengeful fantasy of strangling Underwood, believing Washington is covering up the truth. Later, Lucas and Dunbar meet tersely at a diner in the rain, and Remy resigns his post. Meanwhile, Lucas Goodwin tells Heather Dunbar that analyzing the AmWorks data is overwhelming and requires a narrower focus, pressing her for more information about Rachel but expressing concern about security during their public meeting. Underwood interviews a judge about the Supreme Court vacancy, suggests Heather Dunbar as a candidate, and secures the judge's agreement. Ela reports to Seth that she is under a moratorium from speaking about AmWorks, but when she appeals for the truth, she is summoned to speak with the president. Seth and Corey have a private conversation, followed by a conference call where Underwood announces to Ela's dismay that the Kremlin has arrested Michael Corrigan. Claire expresses concern that Corrigan's arrest is not a coincidence, leading Frank to discuss the necessity of special treatment for Corrigan, and Claire, having been stonewalled by Petrov, informs Underwood of her intention to involve the UN. Despite Underwood's reluctance to compromise, Claire insists on pushing the resolution, but warns him not to be inflexible. Underwood instructs Grisham to send through information to the Kremlin and orders his staff to go to Russia, perceiving the failure of the UN resolution as a concession and triggering concerns among his staff due to his increasingly erratic behavior. Ila tells Corey that the president needs a new image. Heather Dunbar is announced as the Supreme Court Justice nominee, observed by Frank Underwood on television. The segment culminates with Heather Dunbar's speech, where she states her desire to clean up the Oval Office, and Robert Jacobs asks Underwood if he is planning to kill him, echoing Dunbar's sentiment that they have to clean the Oval Office. President Underwood visits Heather Dunbar to dissuade her from resigning, refusing to accept her letter. He reminds her of his offer for a Supreme Court seat and questions if she's been speaking with Justice Robert Jacobs. Dunbar admits to being close friends with Jacobs and reveals she knew about his Alzheimer's diagnosis since he confided in her. Underwood claims his actions are in Dunbar's best interest, hinting at eliminating her from the political arena. Dunbar calls out Underwood for his self-serving motives, leading to Underwood questioning her chances of winning the presidency. Dunbar affirms her belief in her chances, which Underwood dismisses, despite what Birch might say. Dunbar reveals that she initially considered Underwood's Supreme Court offer, but changed her mind after Jacobs disclosed Underwood's threats, motivating her to run and cleanse the administration. Underwood denies threatening Jacobs and insists he was trying to help both of them, portraying his actions as attempts to save Dunbar. Dunbar remains resolute, stating they will meet in Iowa. Elsewhere, Seth is instructed by President Underwood to put Dunbar on the phone. Underwood confronts Dunbar about her meeting with Senator Jalla, revealing his extensive network of informants. He cryptically says, "I want you," as Doug Stamper is seen waiting for Dunbar to exit an elevator. Later, a troubled Underwood is alone, admitting to someone that he made a mistake. Underwood alludes to the weight of burying soldiers. He and Stamper meet at a church where they have a philosophical discussion, and Stamper questions what is bothering the president. After Stamper leaves him alone, Underwood, in a fit of rage, destroys a statue of Jesus and declares that God will now hear him.